My name is Hazel Carter. I'm 42 years old, a freelance photographer living on the quiet outskirts of Portland, Oregon. Most days, my world revolves around capturing life's ordinary beauty, the laughter of children chasing bubbles in the park, the soft gold of the sunset spilling over the Willamette River, or the tender way families lean into one another during portraits. My style is simple, my presence unassuming. I drive an old minivan that rattles on cold mornings, and my little house is filled with handmade photo frames, each one holding a story I never quite finished telling. To most people, I'm just a single mother trying to make ends meet, raising my 14-year-old daughter Lily with patience and love. But behind the modest smiles and worn jeans lies a secret I've never shared. Not even with her. Hidden away in a quiet bank account sits $1.2 million, a sum I inherited from my late father, a real estate developer whose name still echoes in Portland's old neighborhoods. I've kept it buried, not out of greed, but out of protection. I want Lily to grow up knowing the worth of effort, the dignity of work, and the kind of happiness money can never buy. If you're still listening, we want to sincerely thank you for spending your time with us. It truly means a lot. We'd love to know, where in the world are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments and let's see how far this message has reached. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I highly recommend doing it now so you won't miss any of our upcoming stories. These aren't just ordinary stories. They're filled with meaningful life lessons that can inspire, teach, and stay with you long after the video ends. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. Everything started to shift the autumn Lily entered 8th grade at Lincoln Middle School. My daughter had always been shy, the kind of girl who preferred sketching in the corner of her room to talking in crowded hallways. She dreaded school mornings, until one day she didn't. "Mom, Mr. Harper is amazing. He makes literature feel alive," she said one morning, eyes sparkling as she packed her sketchbook into her backpack. I smiled, relieved that maybe finally, she had found a teacher who inspired her. After all, Lily had been through so much since her father left. A spark of excitement seemed like a blessing. But as weeks passed, subtle changes began to unsettle me. She started waking up earlier, spending extra time brushing her hair, picking out soft pastel dresses instead of her usual oversized t-shirts. Her room smelled faintly of the floral perfume she begged me to buy last Christmas. At first, I brushed it off as normal teenage curiosity, a crush maybe harmless and fleeting. But then I noticed how her mood swung like a pendulum. Some afternoons she'd come home glowing, full of stories about how Mr. Harper said my essay made him cry. And other days she'd slam her door without a word, eyes red and silent. I'd hear her phone buzz late at night, followed by quiet giggles or muffled sobs. A mother knows. Even when she wants to believe it's nothing, her gut whispers otherwise. One evening, while Lily was doing homework, I casually suggested, "Honey, how about switching to another English class next semester? Sometimes it helps to learn from different teachers." The reaction was instant and terrifying. She froze, her pencil midair, color draining from her face. "No, you don't understand, Mom. Mr. Harper gets me." Her voice cracked, trembling with something deeper than teenage stubbornness. Before I could respond, she stormed upstairs, the sound of her door slamming echoing through the quiet house. A few minutes later, I heard faint tapping, the soft, rapid rhythm of her thumbs on her phone. She was messaging someone. My heart began to pound. That night, after hours of restless pacing, I did something I'd never done before. When Lily fell asleep, I crept into her room, careful not to wake her. Her phone lay charging on her nightstand. My hands trembled as I unlocked it with her birthday June 14th, half hoping I wouldn't find anything. Inside a hidden folder of apps, there was an unfamiliar email address. My chest tightened as I opened it. Dozens of messages filled the screen. And there his name, Mr. Harper. At first, they seemed innocent. Discussions about poetry, book recommendations, small talk. But the tone changed gradually, insidiously. You see the world differently, Lily. More mature than the others. Our connection feels special. Something I haven't experienced in years. Each sentence made my stomach twist. Then came the photos. A silver necklace shaped like a heart, a tube of expensive lipstick, a pale blue dress that I'd never seen her wear. Hide these, okay? They're just between us. You deserve nice things. I stared at the screen until my vision blurred. My fingers were cold, my breathing uneven. It wasn't just wrong. It was predatory, calculated, and terrifying. I could almost see his hands typing those words, his eyes on my daughter, manipulating her trust. My first instinct was to wake Lily and demand answers, but another part of me, the mother who knew her daughter's fragility, stopped me. I sat on the edge of my bed for hours, phone clutched in my hand, the glow of the screen fading as the truth settled like lead in my chest. The next morning, I looked at Lily as she came downstairs, smiling faintly, hair neatly brushed, humming to herself. My throat tightened. She was still my little girl. But someone had already crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. My hands trembled as I reached into Lily's school bag that night. Hidden beneath her sketchbooks and pencil case was a small velvet pouch. Inside, I found the silver necklace I'd seen in Harper's email. Beneath the lining of her bag, carefully tucked away, was the lipstick and a folded shopping receipt from a luxury boutique downtown, paid in cash. My breath caught. Every item was real. Every word in those emails had been the truth I didn't want to face. Anger surged through me. Hot, violent, unrestrained, but it collided with fear so intense that I could barely move. I wanted to storm into that man's classroom, tear his reputation apart, and scream until every parent knew what he had done. But I couldn't. Not yet. Because Gregory Harper wasn't just another teacher. He was protected. His father sat on Portland's city council, his mother chaired the school's parent board, and his sister, a polished media-savvy attorney, represented half the influential families in the district. If I accused him without proof, they'd bury the story before it breathed air. They'd call Lily unstable, call me hysterical, and turn our pain into their protection. So I swallowed the rage. I forced myself to breathe. That night, I became someone else, not just a mother but an investigator, a strategist. I took photos of the gifts, screenshots of every message, and uploaded them to multiple encrypted drives. I installed a discreet recording app on Lily's phone, disguised as a calendar widget. Each click of my camera felt like a silent vow. You won't get away with this. Days blurred together as I pretended life was normal. I made pancakes, drove Lily to school, smiled at neighbors. But underneath it all, every second was a countdown. A quiet war only I knew was happening. Then came the day everything shattered. It was a gray Friday afternoon when Lily came home early. Her backpack dropped with a dull thud at the door, and she ran straight to the bathroom. I heard the lock click. A few minutes later came the sound that made my heart stop, her sobbing sharp and broken. I knocked gently. Lily? Sweetheart? What's wrong? No answer. Just the sound of running water and muffled cries. For over an hour I sat outside that door, whispering through the wood, begging her to talk to me. When she finally opened it, she looked small. Her face was pale, eyes swollen, lips trembling. She clutched something in her hand. A pregnancy test, the faint pink lines unmistakable. Her voice broke as she spoke. Mom. He said if I loved him I had to show it. He said I was special, that it wouldn't hurt if I trusted him. But it did, Mom. It hurt so much and he didn't stop. The words hollowed me out. Every muscle in my body went rigid, my mind screaming, my heart splintering into pieces I couldn't gather. I pulled her into my arms, holding her as tightly as I could while she shook against me. It's not your fault, I whispered over and over, even as tears streamed down my face. You didn't do anything wrong, Lily. None of this is your fault. That night, I drove her to a small women's clinic on the edge of town. The fluorescent lights were cold, the walls too white. I told the nurse she was having severe stomach pain. I couldn't bring myself to explain yet. The nurse's eyes softened with concern as she led Lily into the examination room. I waited outside, numb, my hands clasped so tightly my knuckles turned white. When the doctor came out, her expression said everything. "She's about 6 weeks along," she said gently. My breath left me in a quiet gasp. I begged them not to file a mandatory report immediately. "Please," I whispered. "Just give me 24 hours. You don't understand the Harper family. They'll destroy the evidence before anyone gets there." The doctor hesitated but saw the desperation in my eyes. She finally nodded, quietly promising to delay the report until the next evening. 24 hours. That was all I had. I drove home in silence. Lily slept in the passenger seat, face pale under the passing streetlights. I watched her reflection in the window, my baby, my little girl who still kept stuffed animals on her bed, and rage burned deep in my chest. Back home while she slept, I worked. I saved every file, every recording, every message onto multiple cloud accounts under different aliases. I encrypted folders, labeled them with random dates, uploaded them to drives hidden under my photography business name. I didn't cry. I didn't sleep. I just moved fast and mechanical because grief would come later after justice. Each click, each file transfer was a small act of defiance. I gathered Lily's medical results, took photos of the test, and even recorded a brief video explaining what had happened, just in case something happened to me. By dawn, my kitchen table was covered with papers, USB drives, and my camera memory cards. The house was silent except for the faint hum of the refrigerator and the sound of my heartbeat pounding in my ears. When I finally looked up, the sun was rising, pale gold spilling across the window, touching Lily's school photo on the wall. Her smile, so full of innocence, nearly broke me again. But beneath the sorrow, something else took root. A cold, unwavering determination. Gregory Harper thought he could manipulate a child and hide behind his family's power. He thought silence and shame would protect him. He was wrong. I kissed Lily's forehead as she slept, whispered a promise she couldn't yet hear, and watched the light slowly fill the room. I had 24 hours, and I was going to use every second of them. I began volunteering at the school, blending into the background like any other parent eager to help. It was the only way I could watch Gregory Harper without drawing attention. Every Thursday, I shelved books in the library or helped organize writing workshops, pretending to be the friendly mom who had too much free time. But my eyes were always on him. The way he stood a little too close to the girls, the subtle touch on a shoulder, the lingering smiles. To anyone else, it looked harmless. To me, it was a pattern, the same quiet manipulation I had already seen in his messages to Lily. I kept a notebook tucked in my bag, writing everything down. Dates, places, words, gestures. I was building a case, one observation at a time. Meanwhile, the text messages didn't stop. Harper began using a new number, one Lily didn't recognize at first. His tone had shifted from charming to coercive. "Delete those emails, Lily, or I'll fail you. You don't want your mom finding out, do you? She'll think you're just like her." Every word dripped with control. He knew exactly how to prey on a teenager's fear, the fear of shame, of not being believed. I sat down with Lily one night, our kitchen dim except for the warm glow of a single lamp. She wouldn't meet my eyes. I didn't press her. Instead, I opened my laptop and showed her articles, stories of girls her age, manipulated by men who said the same words Harper did. I talked to her about consent, about how love and fear can never coexist. Slowly, she began to understand. She cried quietly, whispering, "I thought he really cared about me." "You wanted to be seen," I said gently, taking her hand. "But what he did wasn't love. It was power." While Lily processed her pain, I began reaching out for help, discreetly. I contacted Anna, the mother of Chloe, Lily's closest friend. I didn't tell her everything, only that something felt wrong. After a long pause, Anna sighed. Chloe once mentioned Harper gave her a necklace, said it made her uncomfortable, but she was scared to tell anyone. That night, Chloe came over. She sat at my kitchen table, hands shaking as she recounted her story. Harper had cornered her after class once, told her she was too beautiful to be treated like a kid. He'd slipped a small bracelet into her backpack and whispered that it was their secret. She never wore it. She just hid it, too ashamed to tell anyone. Anna and I decided to act together. We spoke with 2 other parents quietly and carefully. Soon more stories surfaced, small chilling details that mirrored Lily's experience. I compiled them all. Screenshots, witness notes, even a few emails Harper had mistakenly sent from his official account. It was enough to set a trap. The breaking point came when I convinced Lily to wear a small recording device to a meeting Harper had arranged. He'd told her to meet him at a quiet cafe downtown, supposedly to talk things through. She was terrified but brave. "You'll be nearby, right, Mom?" she whispered as I clipped the tiny microphone to her sweater collar. "I'll be right there," I promised. I sat 2 tables away, pretending to scroll through my phone while every nerve in my body was on fire. When Harper arrived, he smiled like a man greeting an old friend, calm, confident, completely unaware. The recorder blinked softly under Lily's scarf. His voice was low, sharp-edged. "You're ruining everything, Lily. What we have is special. You said you loved me." Lily's voice trembled. "I didn't understand. Don't play dumb. You got yourself into this mess. You're pregnant, aren't you?" His tone turned harsh. "Take care of it. I'll pay for it, but this ends now." My fingers clenched around my phone. People nearby began to glance over, sensing tension. Then he reached across the table and grabbed Lily's wrist, hard enough that she flinched and cried out. That was it. I stood up. "Let go of her." Harper froze, shock flashing across his face as I stepped forward. "It's over, Mr. Harper," I said, my voice steady despite the shaking in my chest. "Everything you just said has been recorded." The cafe went silent. A few customers began filming with their phones. Harper's face turned red, his confidence cracking. He muttered something under his breath and bolted for the door, leaving his half-finished coffee behind. But he was too late. I already had what I needed. That evening, I drove straight to the Oregon State Police, bypassing the local department entirely. I couldn't risk the Harper family's influence. I handed them everything: the recordings, the photos, the screenshots, the testimonies from other girls. The officers listened quietly, their faces growing darker with every minute. They arrested Gregory Harper later that night. Within days, the investigation expanded far beyond what I had imagined. The evidence on his computer revealed hundreds of hidden photos, candid shots of students, taken without their knowledge, stored in folders labeled with first names. Investigators uncovered at least 3 other victims who had been silenced through threats and gifts. Each story echoed Lily's in its own devastating way. The news broke across Portland like wildfire. The Harper family's power couldn't protect him this time. His father resigned from the council amid public outrage, and his sister withdrew from her law firm. The school suspended its principal for negligence. But for me, the real victory was quieter. It came in the form of Lily's breathing slower, steadier. As she slept that night, no longer haunted by unread messages or secret fears. When I looked at her, bruises fading from her wrist, I realized something profound. Justice wasn't just about punishment. It was about reclaiming truth piece by piece, until the lies no longer defined us. And for the first time in months, I allowed myself to exhale. Harper's wife, a gentle yoga instructor who had always exuded calm and patience, became an unexpected ally in the pursuit of justice. After discovering the full extent of her husband's manipulations and predatory behavior, she brought forward additional evidence: emails, hidden messages, and even a small collection of recordings she had stumbled upon at home. Her testimony, combined with the mountains of proof I and other parents had gathered, left the court with no choice. Gregory Harper, once a respected literature teacher, was sentenced to 18 years in prison for sexual abuse of a minor, manipulation, and witness intimidation, alongside a lifetime ban from contact with children. His carefully constructed facade of authority and charm crumbled under the weight of his own deeds, leaving a hollow, shamed figure in the defendant's chair. For Lily, the ordeal's conclusion came with profound personal cost. The emotional and physical stress of months of fear, manipulation, and court proceedings proved overwhelming. The tiny life she carried was lost, a miscarriage brought on by trauma and tension. I held her trembling in my arms that night, feeling both the crushing weight of grief and the bittersweet relief that the pregnancy had ended before it could become another source of manipulation or fear. It was a heartbreak that brought both pain and, strangely, a form of salvation, a chance to start healing without the additional burden of the past hanging over her. Therapy became a lifeline. Every week, Lily met with a compassionate counselor who helped her articulate the complex emotions she had buried. Shame, fear, confusion, and anger. Slowly, layer by layer, she began to understand that what had happened was not her fault, and that she could reclaim her sense of self. The timid, withdrawn girl who once sketched quietly in corners began to speak her thoughts aloud. She laughed again, sometimes softly, sometimes with a bright, unguarded joy that reminded me of the child she had been before Harper's influence shadowed her life. To support others and transform our trauma into action, I joined a local organization dedicated to assisting survivors of abuse. In the first year alone, I helped 20 families navigate legal processes, therapy options, and emotional recovery, guiding parents and children through a journey I knew all too well. Each success, a child regaining confidence, a family finding a path forward, became a small victory that reinforced my own resilience and purpose. Lily eventually transferred to a new school, a place filled with open classrooms and friendly teachers who valued creativity. She joined the art club, spending afternoons immersed in paints, clay, and sketchbooks, channeling her emotions into forms that spoke louder than words ever could. In her sketches, I could see the shadow of her past lingering faintly, but also the brightness of hope emerging. She began talking about her dream of becoming an art therapist, helping other children process trauma, the way she was learning to do, turning suffering into strength and self-expression. Even now, as her confidence blossoms and her laughter becomes more frequent, I hold on to tangible reminders of her courage. One of Lily's paintings hangs above my desk, a vivid field of wildflowers under a wide blue sky, each blossom a tiny testament to endurance and growth. Every time I glance at it, I see her journey, the struggles she endured, the fear she confronted, and the voice she reclaimed. That painting is more than art. It is a symbol of resilience, a mirror reflecting the strength she had to summon to survive, and the bright future she is gradually embracing. Though the road ahead is still long and healing is ongoing, I am profoundly proud. My daughter, who once feared the world beyond her bedroom, now walks through it with cautious courage and a voice that is hers alone. She is reclaiming her story, her self-worth, and her dreams. And in the quiet moments when we sit together, reviewing her sketches or sharing a simple breakfast, I am reminded that even after darkness, light persists, carried in the steadfast spirit of those who refuse to be silenced. 5 lessons I learned from Lily's journey. 1. Trust your intuition. Being a mother taught me that instinct is rarely wrong. The first time I noticed Lily's subtle changes, waking up earlier, choosing different clothes, her mood swings, something inside me whispered that something was off. First, I questioned myself. Was I overreacting? But deep down, I knew that our intuition, that quiet, persistent voice inside us, exists for a reason. It warns us when someone we love might be in danger, or when something in our environment doesn't feel right. Don't dismiss it, no matter how small the signal seems. If you notice shifts in behavior, tone, or energy, in your children, your friends, or even yourself, take them seriously. Acting on your gut instinct can be the first step in preventing harm. 2. Evidence is power. When faced with someone who wields authority and influence, the truth alone is often not enough. Collecting proof, screenshots, recordings, documentation, became my shield and my sword. It wasn't easy, and I felt a heavy weight of responsibility as I compiled each piece of evidence, knowing that Lily's safety depended on it. But evidence transforms suspicion into action. It turns fear into leverage and enables you to stand up against those who would abuse their power. If you ever sense wrongdoing or danger, start documenting quietly, safely, and systematically. In times of crisis, evidence is not just proof. It's protection, empowerment, and ultimately justice. 3. Family can be chosen. Not all family is related by blood, and not all support comes from those who share our last name. Anna and Chloe became our lifeline. They believed Lily and me when others might have doubted. They helped us gather information, provided comfort, and shared the burden of fear and uncertainty. Through this journey, I realized that family is as much about loyalty, empathy, and shared courage as it is about genetics. Surround yourself with people who will stand beside you, who will listen without judgment, and who will act with integrity when the moment calls for it. In the hardest times, it's these connections that give us strength to move forward. 4. Truth will prevail. Gregory Harper thought that his position, his connections, and his charm would protect him from accountability. But truth, when combined with evidence and courage, proved far stronger than his power. No matter how intimidating or influential someone may appear, the facts remain immutable. Speaking up and presenting truth in a careful, deliberate way can dismantle even the most entrenched systems of deception. Courage alone is not enough. Courage guided by truth and preparation is unstoppable. This lesson reminds us that fear of confrontation should never outweigh our responsibility to protect the vulnerable and uphold justice. 5. Healing is a journey, not a race. The road to recovery is neither straight nor quick. Lily's healing continues. Therapy sessions, new experiences, and small moments of self-expression mark her progress. She has lost part of her innocence, but she has gained resilience and a voice that is uniquely her own. I have learned to celebrate incremental victories, to be patient with myself and with her, and to honor the pace of healing without pressure or judgment. True recovery is measured in regained confidence, moments of joy, and the ability to trust again. Every step forward, however small, is a victory, a call to action. This story is deeply personal, yet it belongs to anyone who has ever faced fear, injustice, or abuse. I hope it reminds you that your voice matters, that your intuition is valid, and that courage combined with preparation can change lives. Have you ever had to stand up for yourself or someone you love? I would love to hear your story. Share your thoughts in the comments and tell me which city you're from. It's powerful to see the support spread far and wide. If this story touched you, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. By doing so, you help spread awareness and courage, giving strength to those who may be walking similar paths in silence. Thank you for listening, for believing, and for being part of this community that honors bravery, resilience, and truth.